Doctor Linda J. M. Holloway is a story activist, author, coach, and professor. She has been in higher education for over 27 years and has published over 25 articles in her field of study. Currently, she is employed at Alabama State University, located in Montgomery, Alabama. Additionally, Professor Holloway served over 27 years in the United States Army Reserve's Medical Service Corps, where she retired as a colonel. Dr. Holloway is an effective advocate for women to discover, embrace, and live out their God ordained destiny in life. Dr. Holloway does this through her own platform entitled Women Without Limitation, where she instills a philosophy on life: dream your own dreams. In Dr. Holloway's spare time, she enjoyed reading, running, going to the movies, and spending time with family and friends. Even in her spare time, she finds way to dedicate her time and energy to empowering, educating, and elevating people in numerous ways. And on today's episode of our interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Linda Holloway. Welcome on the show, Linda.
Hello, good. It's daytime where I am. So I want to just say before I get started, I want to say hello to everyone out there, those that are listening now and those that will listening later. And I also want to thank you for having me on your show today.
Yeah, it's my joy as well. It's so lovely to have you on the show today. So, Linda, I want to first say that you have interesting set of titles, which I'm excited we'll be talking about today. So let's start with Little Miss Linda Speaks Out about diversity. What inspired you to write this book, and what position is it in the series of Little Miss Linda Speak book series?
Okay, what inspired me to write these is as you mentioned, I've written several articles. So I had written articles about the various topics, but in doing the research and writing those articles, I realized that those women were once young girls. And I decided, well, how can I reach young children about the various topics? You take, for example, I love my happy hair. I'd written an article on speaking out about Black hair in the marketplace. So I wanted to encourage and elevate and educate young Black children to love and support their hair. So that's how Little Miss Linda, I love my happy hair. And it's really when it say Little Miss Linda, it's kind of like my inner voice that's speaking. And oftentimes people want to know, like, are these stories about you? There are elements of truth in them, but they're not all about me. They're about various people that I've interacted or things that I've have experienced along my journey in my life. So that's my motivation for doing that. You also mentioned that I have interesting titles. Most
Yeah.
people kind of want to know, what is a story activist? I definitely love storytelling, but
Mm.
in my stories, Little Miss Linda always flipped the script. It's like if
Wow.
something bad happens to her, she turn it into something good, and she do some kind of program. So even in I Love My Happy Hair, she has a I Love My Happy Hair campaign where she goes around and she teaches others to love her hair, love their hair.
Wow. That's quite amazing to know. I love the sound of your book and the description you make on it. It sounds very interesting and would make for a fantastic read and discussion. Then you also have another book titled I Love My Happy Hair, like you just mentioned. Would you love to tell us a bit about that too?
Okay, I just spoke about I Love My Happy Hair. My next book would be about Little Miss Linda Goes to Counseling. And so once again, I had done an article on Black children and mental health
Yeah.
or church versus counseling. It's a Black thing, and we do want you to understand. And the reason being because oftentimes in the Black community, mental health is kind of met with like a stigmatism, or people hear mental. The word mental kind of has a negative connotation. So oftentimes people do not go out and seek the help that they need, or maybe they think that, oh, I'm crazy if I would do this. So once
Mm.
again, trying to put it in a childlike manner where little Miss Linda in this particular book, she's feeling really down. She has two
Wow.
parents in the household. She is just feeling down. She doesn't know what's wrong with her. She's a great student. She does really well. So everything is going really well in her life. And
Wow.
she prays that this feeling will go away. But then she eventually realized as she began to research that she's depressed. So she shared with her friends, and her friends tell her to go to the school counselor and to talk to her about it. So it's a really great idea to kind of get children, because in we looking at the research, it says 1 out of 6 children would experience mental health, and between the ages of 6, I believe, to 17 age group. So there's a lot of mental health. We know that we have shootings in the school. We know that suicide has gone up. We know that children suffer from stress, you
Absolutely.
know, anxiety and depression, and having gone through COVID. So we wanted to create an opportunity to talk to them about their mental wellness. And that's what Little Miss Linda does by going to counseling.
Wow, that's an impressive discussion. I really love the sound of your book. It sounds very intriguing to me. Thank you so much for sharing.
Actually 5 books, and I have one that deals with the next book deals with sickle cell disease. Sickle
Mm,
cell disease is very prevalent among the African American community. It doesn't get as much of attention. I have a really good friend who has sickle cell. So
wow.
September is sickle cell month, which oftentimes does not get celebrated.
Mm,
June 19 is National Sickle Cell Day, and so just really wanted to shed light. But this is another opportunity where Miss Linda gets to talk about somebody who has a disability and to
mm,
shed light on the illness that oftentimes people don't. Oftentimes
absolutely.
people look a little different because I have the word rape in the title. It doesn't say
Mm,
good touch or bad touch. Little Miss Linda talks about rape. And we know that this does happen to young girls and boys. So it's another opportunity to talk about good touch and bad touch, and also to just talk about dating. So I wrote the books in such a way, even though they say children books, that I can use them for adults. I also use them in my classroom because there's an area in counseling we call bibliotherapy. We don't just say,
mm,
read a book and you'll feel better. But we know if you can read sections of a book or read a book, or you can use that in your therapeutic process. And so that's another avenue. And then, of course, the last book that's officially out
yeah.
is Little Miss Linda Talks About Diversity. And that particular book actually deal with colorism, because oftentimes when people think of
Wow.
diversity, they think of just race. But this book actually deals with colorism in the sense of light skin versus dark skin. And so she's a dark skinned girl in reference to everyone else, and she gets teased and she gets bullied. And so she really talks about celebrating the skin that you're in.
Wow. I love the fact that your books expound on different themes and titles that are, ranging and very popular in a contemporary world. So that really makes for an interesting discussion. That's very impressive to know. Now, Linda, as authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our works. I'm curious to know your opinion about criticism. How do you react to negative reviews of your books if you've ever had one in time past?
Yes, that's a great question. I have a space for negative thoughts, or maybe
Yeah.
someone doesn't say anything positive. We would really like that every time someone says something about what we write, that it will be, received good, it will be well, because we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in that. But I,
Mm,
like I say, have a space for that. And that space is, let me see how I can grow from that. Because everybody's not going to receive everything that you put out there. And maybe
absolutely.
there is some substance to what this person is saying. But
Mm,
if it's not, then I don't worry about it, because I did not, I come from the perspective that not one size fit all, and it's not going to be for everybody. But if it's something about, I can make a difference, I can make it better, then I do want to include that. Because when I first published the book, I self-published it, and now I went through King Vision Publishing Company. So we
mm.
made a lot of changes. We've taken into some consideration about things that people have said. But overall, it's been received very, very positive, because we always want the pat on the back. But it's still good to know that someone has a difference of opinion or have a different in terms of idea. So
Wow.
I'm very open to that.
Yeah, I love your take about criticism. It really made for an interesting discussion. And that's something very nice you mentioned. Your point are quite very educative, I'd say. Now, I also see that you have another book titled Little Miss Linda Goes to Counseling. Without giving spoilers, would you like to tell us about the making of that as well? Also, how did you get the ideas for the entire Little Linda series? Because it sounds very intriguing to me. I'd love to know about that too.
Yes, as I alluded to earlier, um, Little Miss Linda's just my inner voice speaking out
Wow.
on various topics. And I've
Mm,
also had already written articles about different things. So I've written an article on counseling. And so I wanted to shed light. I wanted to encourage students that if they're not doing okay, just like if you broke your arm or ankle or something, you would go to the doctor. But
yeah.
when you emotionally hemorrhaging, when you emotionally don't feel well and you're sad and you're feeling depressed and you feel like you may want to take your life, that it's okay to seek the help that you need. We
Mm,
often say it's okay not to feel okay, but it's okay to feel okay. And so we want to get you back to a place that you feel good about who you are. You're able to, you know, get through life and do the things you need to do because we know
yeah.
that during the pandemic and all the things that are going on around the world, that children was also impacted by this. So Little Miss Linda opens up the dialogue so that children can reach out and seek the help they need. In many of the schools here in the United States, they do have comprehensive mental health programs.
That's good.
I know that you're in Nigeria, so I'm not sure what that is like there. And oftentimes, to ask for help sometimes can be very, very challenging from a
That's good.
mental wellness perspective.
Wow, that's very amazing. I love the fact that these are themes, these are very crucial things you seek to talk about through literature. And that's, I think, is a very amazing way and a very brilliant way of communicating your thought to the world. Now, apart from the books we've mentioned so far, do you have any other works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Oh, absolutely. I do. I have three other books in the series. I have one that should be coming out probably in less than 3 weeks. It's called Bad Girls of Montgomery. I
Wow.
had initially lived in Huntsville, Alabama, which is about 3 hours from here. So whenever I move somewhere, I call myself an armchair historian. So I really, Montgomery is really deep in history. So BAD stands for Bold and Determined Women. So they were women who really made an impact during the civil rights movement. And of
Mm,
course, there are other women that are out there, but I wanted to shine the light on that. And so Little Miss Linda literally takes a trip from Mount Bayou, Mississippi, which
wow.
is an all Black town that was found by enslaved individuals, Isaac Montgomery and Benjamin T. Green, July the 12th, 18, I want to say 1867. And also, she comes here to Montgomery, and it's probably about 60% Black population. So that there's a lot of movers and shakers here. So she is really super excited, and she goes on a field trip with her school. But the teacher basically tells her, "This is just not a field trip. We want you to
Mm,
do something special." And she become intrigued by the women. So I'm really looking forward to that book. It's more, I guess, more of a history, another kind of social activist, because once again, Little Miss Linda wants people all around the world to take a look at who are the bad girls in your
mm,
town that has made a
wow.
difference.
Wow, I love that. Who are the bad guys in your town that has made a difference? That's quite amazing. And I love the sound of your books, actually. And even the impending ones. It sounds very amazing to me concerning the team. Now, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your books that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
Absolutely. We can't tell it all, but I want them to know that all of my books are very interactive. They are just not books that you read. Little Miss Linda in Happy Hair, she has a song in there. She
Wow.
tends to have a pledge. She also has scavenger hunts and throughout the
Oh.
books. For example, in the sickle cell book, she has sickle cells that children have to find. They're located in different places. So it allows the child to get engaged and also to get a better understanding of what a sickle cell, but it's done in
Mm,
a very friendly way where they can be engaged with their parents or whoever's reading the book and have a fun time around it, because some of these topics can be very, very, very heavy. And they are kind of a different topics that most children will probably be reading. But I'm
Yeah.
in counseling education, so I really wanted to talk about social emotional learning to build character. So we try to have those things throughout the book. For example, in the counseling book, we hear smiley faces. But one of the things I do like to tell people is don't focus on the scavenger hunt first. Get through the story, then have the child to go back. We do have the key back there. We tell them not to cheat. And like I say, each of the books we tend to have like a pledge. Like, for example, in the hair book, we have the anti-bully hair pledge, where we
Wow.
basically tell children not to tease people about how their hair grows out of their head, because the way their hair grows out of their head is the way that their hair grows, and everybody has happy hair. And so the
Mm.
pledge allows them to sign. And so I do want to say that. And I do want to say that we do have interaction. In the diversity book, we have a dance called the Skittle Dance. And we
Wow.
teach the kids how to do the Skittle Dance. So we try to have some fun as they're learning and things like that. So I would want to share that about my books.
Wow, that's very amazing to know. I so much love your description and answers to this question. You pretty much made for an interesting discussion. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. And
Now, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered ever since you got published?
let me start with the latter first. The challenge for me was in my head. It wasn't outside. And what I mean by that, it kind of came up this acronym they have. It's um, deals with just negative thoughts. You know, what are people going to think about it? Or
Mm,
should I cater to this? So my challenge was reprogramming myself. So this sense of accelerated negative thoughts is being
mm,
able to change them and say, and really kind of just talk to myself that these books are not going to be for everybody. Know your why. Be committed to that. And when I began
mm,
to work on myself and walk in that, because oftentimes even when people hear the word self-published, they think, not of good quality, not good. And then when they would see that I invested in the illustrated, the book covers and everything like
yeah.
that, I was like, wow, you
Wow.
really did great job. And I began to tell them about several other people who were self-published who did it really great. So all of these things are kind of met with negative thoughts. Even when I
Mm,
saw your show and I saw that you cater towards and you open up a space for those people who are self-published so that the light will be shined and they can be encouraged, because a lot of times literature goes unknown because you're not with a company or
mm,
affiliated with someone. And so I had to reprogram how I presented myself, and I had to believe in who I was as a writer. And I'm still growing, still learning, lots of learning. And just so it was really about me. You also mentioned about, what do you do when you get negative comments? You like it when you get a, 5 star, somebody click, but then you wonder, are people just clicking just to be clicking, or they take the time? When you see someone who's taken the time and written a very detailed review
mm.
and really giving you some really good feedback, you can extrapolate that information and grow from it. And you just
Absolutely.
realize that. And you try to divorce yourself, even though these books for me are like my children, but you try to
Mm,
divorce yourself so that you can elevate and you can grow as a result of that. So I would say the challenge started with me and me feeling very, very confident about what I'm doing. Because as you mentioned, I'm a college professor. So oftentimes you're writing textbooks, you're doing other kinds of things. And I
yeah.
chose to do something a little different. And so trying to be in that arena, if you would, to tell people that you can do this and still bring it into academia, and you can still use these as learning tools. So I
Wow.
would say that's been the challenge.
Wow, this is an amazing response. It's very detailed, very educative, and informative. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. This is something I would love to go back to again and take some notes because I learned a lot from your answers to this question. Very impressive. Now, Linda, would you like to read a short section of any of your books? It could be your favorite line, your favorite page, or a passage, paragraph, whatever. Would you love to do that?
Absolutely. And you probably already know I am going to choose I love my happy hair. But
Oh,
what I want to do, even though you asked me if I would read something, I'm going to actually, along with the people that are watching now and that will watch later, I want to share with you. I love my happy hair song because it's my goal that everybody can sing along with me. If you love your happy hair, clap your hands.
clap
If
your
you love your
hands.
happy hair, snap your fingers. If you love your happy hair, shake your head from side to side. If you love your happy hair, stomp your feet. If you love your happy hair, let me see you do your favorite dance. Come on, everybody, get up
That's
and do your
nice.
favorite dance. If you love your happy hair with your fists in the air, shout out loud, I love my happy hair. Let's do it again.
I
Clap
love
your
my hair.
hands, snap your fingers, shake your head from side to side, stomp your feet. Okay, everybody, let me see you do your favorite dance with your fists in the air. Shout out loud, I love
I
my
love my
happy
happy
hair.
hairs.
Good job,
That
everybody. I hope it
was
resonates with you. You
that was so
share it with
fun. I
somebody.
love it. And I love my happy hairs. That's so amazing. I love it. I love it. And I love the energy. I love the words. I love everything attached to it. It's pretty amazing. I'm pretty sure my viewers will be smiling by this time of the day.
I hope so. And I hope they sing the I love my happy hair song.
Yeah, that was so fun. Thank you so much for sharing and adding that. Now, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book? What would you advise people in this category?
I have like the 3 R's: read, research, make sure that your information is relevant.
Mm,
Also have 3 P's: produce it. Oftentimes people like, I don't, they just feel like they got to get it perfect. I said at some point, release it, produce it. Once you produce it, then you need to publish it. And producing it is really producing it so that you have it out there, you can get beta readers, but
yeah,
then you got to publish it, whether you upload it
absolutely.
on Amazon, Ingram Smart, but
Yeah,
publish it. Don't leave it in the drawer. Get it out there.
yeah,
Be afraid to get feedback or what other people are going to say. Make sure you're passionate about it. Write about something that you are passionate about because you
absolutely.
are the one that's going to tell and sell your story. Then I would say publicize it. There's no venue too small, too little. If someone invites you to a church, someone invites you to a small meeting, don't think it, oh, this is too small. I'm not going to do it. Go and do it because all it takes is just one person hearing about what you have produced, what you have published, and what you have publicized, and they would tell
Mm,
someone else. Invest in it. Don't be afraid to give away free books. Sometimes people feel like, oh,
absolutely.
I'm only in it for the money and I want to make back. I want you to make back everything that you've ever spent, but you've
Yeah,
got to be willing to invest in other people, especially with them
absolutely.
banning books and being out there. So I would just say, remember the 3 R's. Make sure you research, make sure you read, make sure you do something that's relevant that you can relate to. The 3 P's, make sure you produce it, get it out there,
Yeah,
publish it, and then publicize it because marketing can be very, very hard. Know your
absolutely.
target audience, and you may not grow overnight, but get it out there and be confident when you get it out there, what you're talking
Mm,
about, because you are the author and the writer of your story.
wow. Wow, I love that last word. Very impressive. I love your answers to this question. And I would say I'm motivated myself. Your responses are quite motivating and very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing. I love them. Now, in case we have some interested viewers who would love to get a copy of your book, on what platform are they available on for purchase?
I'm on all online platforms, but you definitely can order it from Amazon. You can also get them from the hard copy as well as the soft copy, paperback copy from Ingram Sparks. Those are the
Yeah,
major two. You can also reach me at Linda Holloway Speak gmail.com. I say
yeah,
again, Linda Holloway Speak at gmail.com. And if you wanted me to, just me directly, then obviously I can do that. but I definitely would say you can, because people are from all over the world. So you
Yeah,
can easily get it from Amazon and they would ship it to you. So those are the avenues that you can actually purchase and obtain my book.
that's great. And I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Linda Holloway's books directly on Amazon and on other media platforms. So thank you so much, Linda, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Okay. Can I just and you maybe you're gonna get to this. I would like to show copies of my books so
Yeah,
that people, okay. Are you able to see it? Do I
yeah, I
need to
can
go?
see that. Love my happy hair.
Okay. I'm a visual person, so sometimes like there may be other books out there and I want to make
Yeah,
sure they get.
little Miss Linda goes to counseling. Beautiful.
I'm really liking these because these are my hardback and they
Oh,
I got them from Ingalls
little
Park
Miss Linda speaks out
about
on
sale.
about sickle cell disease. Wow, interesting titles, very crucial information. Little Miss Linda speaks about rape. Wow, lovely. And little Miss Linda speaks out about diversity. Lovely
So
too.
these are the books. And just so you can kind of see little Miss Linda,
Mm,
feel you would definitely fall in love with her. And this
wow.
is a copy of the book
Little Miss
cover
Linda Bad Girls of Montgomery.
of Montgomery. So
Wow,
I'm super excited about it. So that's the one that'll be coming out soon.
that's great. It's so lovely to have this conversation. I'm excited about it.
Thank you for having me and thank you for allowing me to have this conversation. And thank you also for allowing other authors to come on the platform so that their voice can be heard all around the world. Because as
Yeah,
I mentioned earlier, I'm in the United States and you're in Nigeria. So social
yeah,
media can be very helpful. And so I just really, truly appreciate what you're doing, providing a space. I know it's not easy. It
mm,
requires a lot of work. And so I just want to commend you for having this space so that we can show up, so we can share the work that we are doing.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate your kind words too and encouragement.